and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I would ask you to remain standing for a moment of silence for Kathy Marr. Thank you. Then will you call roll call, please?
Kevin.
Present.
Robin, Dan Patterson.
Here.
Cal Ellis.
Here.
Frank Mock.
Here.
And Ray Morrison.
Here.
Public comment?
We have nothing.
All right. Public comment tonight. First, under acknowledgements and announcements, a transfer station stickers for use at the transfer station are on sale now through at the clerk's office, starting in the privilege period runs from September 1st through August 31st, 2019. I'd also like to let everybody know that the Atomic Quad Museum is having their 60th anniversary on September 6th at Trinity Rep. You can visit their website for tickets. They do a VIP reception, they have an artist market there, so looks like it might be a pretty fun event. So. Trinity Rep. Are there any other acknowledgements or announcements?
I'd like to acknowledge the Cranston Little League team for going on to Williamsport. They played Houston, Texas tonight in the Little League, beginning of the double elimination in the Little League World Series tonight. Congratulations, Coventry Little League.
That's
Coventry.
Coventry or Cranston?
No, it's Coventry.
Coventry.
Cranston was a few years ago, I think.
Any other? Is there motion to approve the agenda order?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Consent agenda, we have no Reynolds vouchers this month. Any reports anybody wish to remove? Hearing none. Communications, Dan, we'll start with you.
Number 2, number 4, and number 30.
Okay. Cal?
Just those and number 39.
Frank?
Number 38, and I had number 39 as well, and number 40, please, Mr. President.
20.
40, yeah. All right.
34.
Okay. And I'll also pull number 36. Minutes, we do not have the minutes at this time, so we'll be approving those. Motion to approve the consent agenda as amended.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Vacancies and appointments. We did have one for the personnel board. Number 30, communication number 30. And is he the first person we have, or only person on?
Yes.
We need 2 more for 4, right?
Yeah.
Do we want to write to him, copy him the letter, we did see his application, but we are waiting for 2 more applications to have a quorum. So this is the exact thing that went to nowhere.
Yeah, on the Conservation Commission, we did appoint one person we had.
Okay.
So we, I think, 6. Yeah, so, I don't know, you can write him, appoint, keep it on the books.
I had a thought when I read his communication, because for one thing, I decided I had a chance, I thought I'd give him a call. And the number that he indicates, I got the message that it's either been changed or not in service, but that's okay.
The email.
Yeah, well, have you done that?
No, he sent it to me.
My thought, Kevin, if Glenn could perhaps write him a letter on our behalf, indicate that we've received his letter of interest, and invite him to stop by and look at our personnel book, and to see him to review it. And if he's interested at all to even come and see what we have, I mean, that's indicates if there's real interest. You know, let's see what we have. Those haven't been updated, as we know, in a long time. Just let him look at them. He wouldn't do anything with them. We just invited him to come in and look. He says he'd like to help.
Thoughts? Anybody else from council?
It doesn't commit him. It doesn't commit us to an appointment. It's just acknowledging his interest and
So
suggesting.
when you review, I couldn't hear what you said.
Well, I was just suggesting that Lynn write on our behalf and tell him that we appreciate his interest and his willingness to help, and he might like to come and review a personnel handbook, which,
Okay.
see if he wants to look at it. Because that's a personnel board, is what they would do. That's what they originally intended to do. It's just a thought. That would be my suggestion.
Is it a motion?
Well, I'll make it a motion. If someone wants to second the discussion.
I'll second.
It seems like at least we're acknowledging his interest. I don't know, does anybody know who he is?
No idea.
No.
Okay, well, it doesn't matter. He reached out. He did. He did.
We have a motion and a second, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. If you're not anybody else for conservation or economic development, no resignations this month. Perfect. Appointments, number 1, Memorial Day Parade Committee members. Number 4, you just pulled. Frankie pulled that communication.
I did. We received a letter, as I'm sure the rest of the members of the council did, from Sharon Pelsman. As you all know, she did quite an accomplishment up at the high school, helping to spearhead and working together with the committee to get the track up there.
Yep.
So I think she would be an asset to the Memorial Day Parade.
Okay.
I'll put that in motion. Motion to appoint Sharon Pelsman to the Memorial Day Parade Committee.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any other discussion on it? I mean,
I know she was on the board of canvases when I first came on
Yeah,
board,
she was.
and then she does a lot of stuff in the community too, so I think she's really good.
I'd say we have to make sure Lynn adds her to her list, so after the first of the year, when you get it rolling.
We have a little flyer for the public out here, you wanna get involved in the committee, be a good thing for parade committee, Memorial Day. A lot of some of the members had left for different reasons, we're just looking for new blood to come in to our town, and for the people on television, so good thing to get involved with it, keep our parade going. Right, Frank?
Yes, it was well attended this year, despite the rain.
That's all right.
any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Board of Canvassers, alternate member, ensuing 6-year term. Nothing?
Yeah.
I think there may be someone that can be identified shortly, but not yet. I think, I hope. Had a conversation with someone who said after Labor Day, she'd like to consider. Wouldn't be for me to make that, it would have to come from our town chair, but I think we'll see someone, hopefully.
Move on to 3, planning board alternate member. No applicants there. Continue to vote on that. Number 4 and 5, zoning board review member and zoning board review member alternate member.
I got a question on this one. You get two letters. Timothy Robertson, he is a member of the board now?
Yeah, he's.
Yeah, he is.
He's an alternate?
Yes, he is, and he asked for reappointment as an
But he didn't,
alternate.
did he specify as alternate, or?
He did, that's what his letter indicates.
Do you have it?
No, I have it here in front of
He
me.
has it right there.
Yeah,
Because
and
usually what happens is you bump the alternates up, there's a vacancy.
Could I comment on that? He did not understand that it wasn't process where an alternate would be promoted to the board.
Yeah, that's how.
He really wanted to go on the board, but he thought that applying would cover that and found out it didn't.
Say that again, Tom?
He thought that his request to be reappointed would automatically
Okay, yeah, because normally
be
that's.
for the board itself, and then he discovered that wasn't the case.
Okay, well, I'll make the motion because that's where I started at is,
He wanted to go on the board
Yeah.
full-time if that was available.
I'll make the motion to appoint Timothy Robertson as a member of the Exeter Zoning Board of Review. And,
Full member?
excuse me?
Full member.
Full member, right?
Yeah, and to appoint Susan Littlefield as an alternate to the Exeter Zoning Board of Review.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion on the appointment? I mean, that makes sense to me that the alternate would be about to.
Yeah, that's how it normally works, that's why I wasn't sure what to do. Really,
He-
it's
well, he
been
did.
like a month since we got that.
No,
yeah.
see, he says, please consider it as an alternate member.
But if
But
you're saying you wanted to be.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think I would hope, I mean, I haven't spoken, I read him years ago, and I didn't want to encourage them to come forward, but I haven't spoken to him in a long time. But I would think he might welcome that, and so
Okay.
that's what we'll do.
Wait a second.
Cal got a second.
Okay.
All right. Further discussion? Hear none, all in
Yeah.
favor?
Do we have to make those motions separate, or can we make them the same time? Okay. Yeah.
Takes care of it. One motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. No expiring terms coming up? Excellent. Number 8, public hearings. First, number A, public entertainment license application for Lynn Hall, President, Boulder Dash LLC, 53 Beacon Drive, North Kingstown, Rhode Island. The Boulder Dash Doggy Dash Obstacle Run for dogs and their owners, Sunday, October 21st, 2018, the rain date of the 28th of October, from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Camp Canonicus, 54 Exeter Road, Exeter. I'll make a motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Everybody signed up for public comment. Is the applicant here tonight?
I let her know that it got changed tonight.
Do we have any outstanding fees to be paid?
Yes. They owe $158.80 in advertising and certified mail. You need a letter of permission from Camp Canonicus, the fire marshal's okay, and if you're gonna have any vendors, the bottom of the health form.
Do we want to continue this public hearing to the next month if you guys are missing substantial items?
We're gonna be meeting in 2
Well-
weeks, 2 weeks, right?
What?
We're gonna be meeting in 2 weeks.
Right, yes.
Yeah.
We'll have to make sure she gets everything.
Okay. I'll make a motion to continue the public hearing to the September 5th. Well, it's Tuesday.
Tuesday the 4th.
Tuesday the 4th.
Before we move in that direction, I know
Do we
this
have a
is,
second?
there is a second.
Second for discussion?
Yeah. This is not a new activity, except I don't remember dogs being involved. Is this something that, tell me, what did she say?
It's the same, the obstacle course, but
But-
yes, dogs involved this time.
Yeah,
It was, they had nothing.
I didn't do it, yeah. I mean, it's not new, and it's been held, I think, for several years. The only reason I'm discussing it is I'm wondering if we should go ahead and approve it only subject to Lynn receiving that information. We don't have to deal with it in 2 weeks. It's just a thought, we can put it away, and if Lynn doesn't have what she needs, she doesn't get it.
Yeah, I was okay if we just, the mailing fees plus the letter of permission, but needing the okay from the fire marshal and if I have to have vendors, health department, it's just.
If we can get it in 2 weeks, I don't have a problem continuing it. I just thought it might be a little easier to put it away right now. But I know there's a lot of stuff. I hope we can get it in 2 weeks. But Lynn, can you put out the all call to say we need this?
Mhm.
Good,
I'm
okay.
sure she'll get it to us by September.
Good.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Item B, public entertainment license application for Amy Almeida, Friends of the Exeter Animals, 33 Linden Lane, Strange, Rhode Island. classic car show with crafts and food vendors, Saturday, September 15th, rain date of the 16th, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Exeter Animal Shelter, 169 South County Trail, Exeter. I'll make a motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Move it, send it up. They did ask for a waiver of the application fee, which was $15. Something we have done in the past, if the council would like to grant that. Questions or applicant candidacy?
Perhaps we could do that as a motion to grant once the hearing is closed. Perhaps,
We will do that at that.
yeah, once the hearing is closed, we can make that part of the motion.
Do we need one?
They will be $38,079 for the advertising certified mailings. Oh, wait, right, that's with $315, so you're gonna waive that, it's a little less, but, and then, the report from the fire marshal, and if they're gonna have vendors, they're going to get home now.
I said do the same thing. Yeah.
We did it the first and the second.
Yeah.
The date is coming up to be the 15th, so it's timely to let them know, you have not hold it up.
Right.
but-
I mean, they did state right, I think, food vendors.
Yeah, they've got that in their food vendors, so.
Okay,
So I'll make a motion to continue this to September 4th.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next, new business, number A, personnel issues, labor negotiations. We received a letter today from the union, Arthur Jordan. At the July meeting, we had changed the hours for the town hall employees, but not for public works. I think it'd be prudent for us to be fair and perhaps for the last 2 weeks that town hall employees are changed, we modify that for the public works employees. We've been working at 6:30 to 2:30, we're going over half hour.
That would work.
Okay. So I'll make a motion that we modify the hours for the public works employees to 6:30 to 2:30, effective, what's Monday's date?
20th?
The 20th, to run through, when was the other letter?
September 3rd.
Through September 3rd. So I'll make that as a motion.
I'll second for discussion.
Okay. Go ahead, do you want to speak first, or?
Sure.
All right.
I wanted to originally include those departments in the summer hours anyway, but I know that the director had some concerns about that.
Yeah.
So I think we should give him the floor to speak to what our motion is and
Yeah.
give him the ability to express his concerns once again. I personally, I can understand where Steve's coming from, but I also understand, which is why I initially supported having them have summer hours as well, is to avoid the grievance and avoid any problems. And thankfully, Mr. Jordan has sent us somewhat of a letter asking us to reconsider, which I have no problem with. But
Okay.
certainly want to hear the director's aspect.
Steve?
You heard my letter,
Yeah.
and all the reasons I stated that it was gonna be negative impact to the department. I don't wanna get the town in trouble with noise complaints and other things, or waste of productivity or time, because that just costs us money. If we don't get as much done, that was my whole objective, is to keep everything running smoothly. Leaving early, a half hour makes realistically no difference, or coming in a half hour early, for the benefit of summer hours. The heat of the day is the heat of the day, it's from noontime on. So most of our equipment's air conditioned, so it serves no benefit to the department. Is my only concern. It just there's no benefit. It's not gonna, for a week and a few days, it's not gonna do anything for morale at this point. So just maybe consider it next year, try to come up with a better plan. That would be
Yeah. Now, one
more to
question.
my feeling.
The transfer station, are they considered public works
Yes.
employees?
as well as the animal control. That's where because of
That's
that.
where the problem starts.
Yes, it just creates another level of problem. We have posted hours on a sign. Do we post a sign like Lynn has to on the door, you know, to say that we're gonna change the hours? We need time in advance to do these things. You know, so the public's aware, you know, include it with the new sticker information, so it's on the, you know, we could do that for next year, we can do something. It's a little too late.
Think it through a little bit better next year.
Well, yeah, because of noise ordinances, and because of businesses not being open and available to us, to go and collect parts or materials, you're just wasting time.
I don't have a dumpster. What are the hours on weekends there?
7:30 to 3:30.
So you
It's
would-
Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay.
So they would incur overtime if they had to work later.
Extra hours, their part-time got extra hours is what you pay them if they work over or anything changed. They're 24-hour employees at the transfer station.
When does your crew report now?
Public Works,
Yeah.
7 a.m.
7. So this discussion was having them come at 6:30.
Is there work that can be done at the, at the transfer station, at the Public Works building?
Well, we leave within usually 15 to 20 minutes of coming in.
Yeah.
We're on the road to whatever projects we're working on, whether it's cutting brush, sweeping, catch basins, culverts, you know, all the different projects we do. But it all involves running trucks on the road for equipment. And the ordinance is 7 a.m. for trucking.
That's the noise ordinance.
So even trucking is 7 a.m.
So I have a question. This discussion obviously came up before, and I don't mean just this year, but during negotiations, et cetera. Is this what you think your crew, I mean, there's nobody, I don't think there's numbers you're recording here, is this what you think that your folks would like to do, is come in at 6:30, even though they know that?
Well, it's truly, for me, it's not an opinion of personnel, it's an opinion of productivity for the department.
Right, but I mean, is that what they would like to, do you think that's what they want to do?
I would have to take a vote of the crew on that, just to get the truth.
My thoughts are, looking at this letter, it's kind of like a precursor to
To agree with?
agreement, which, from a cost perspective, we're gonna have to hire bid to distribute it. We're gonna spend money that way. To me, it's a token of goodwill to the employees that look, we're gonna look at it more depth. You know, it's 2 weeks, we do some productivity in the department, but over the 2 weeks, it's a token of good faith to them for the next summer. And it saves us the money in fighting the grievance, is my thought.
And I don't fault that reasoning.
Okay.
I guess from a long-term perspective, I don't see how it's ever gonna be different from what you just described. You know what I'm saying? How we can say, let's look at it in the future, and I guess that's what we have to say now. But I can't figure out how that's gonna change. Because what you're telling us.
Well, you
is
just can't allow the
gonna be
union to
different.
force you into wasting taxpayers' money. That's all.
I'm just thinking of someone showing up at the transfer station at 3 o'clock on Saturday or Sunday and they're closed.
Yeah, because those hours shouldn't change.
I agree with you, that was one of the reasonings for it, was all posted hours, it's on signage. You know, there's more to it than just a vote and doing it the next week.
We've never done this before, we
No.
never had it.
No,
So we open up a nice can of worms. And I thought we were doing people a favor, you know, that's the impression I got.
Yeah.
Figured, you know, summertime, you get out a little earlier. But I didn't think it would be turned into this. And then you had said that they're gonna be filing a newsletter anyway after that meeting anyway, so.
Well, I said there was a chance, there'd be something, that's common sense. They had, realistically, the union had no choice but to do that.
So if we go forward with this motion, do we have to make a secondary motion then to modify the hours? Or even if we left the transfer station open and just left it open for extra hours for the employees to earn extra income? Depending how it.
And again, who's to say that those employees want it? You don't know.
Right.
What do we do with the animal shelter? And they have set hours as well. That they have to be open for the state.
all due respect
Yep.
to the employees in all three departments, the DPW guys work how many hours a week?
40.
Okay? The animal shelter works how many hours a week?
One is 35 and three are 15.
Yeah, but I'm,
They don't
days,
get 28 out,
right.
well, they don't get 28 hours to the public.
What I'm saying is, we're kind of talking apples and oranges versus the amount of days that the
I'm
transfer
just saying,
station is open.
The same thing.
May I finish?
Yes, you can.
So the transfer station guys don't work as many hours as the DPW guys. And the animal shelter employees don't work as many hours as the DPW guys. So it kind of, it's almost like, you know, I can understand where there's a rub there, but
But if you were saying-
we're not talking about all three departments that are all working the same amount of hours Monday through Friday, right?
Agreed. I think if we modify it to say strictly the Department of Public Works employees, because I think the Realis doesn't have a set schedule, am I right, Steve?
They all have set schedules.
Even at the animal shelter, or they?
Correct.
I don't recall what Mr. Jordan said in that letter. Did he specifically mention DPW? Did he mention DPW,
The
animal
employees-
shelter, and
No,
transfer
he said
station?
Department of Public Works.
Both of those other departments fall under public works.
Forward public work. Well, the other thought is to say it applies to 40-hour weeks.
40-hour employees.
Animal shelter has a 35-hour employee, town hall have 35-hour employees. Where do you draw the line? Just because they only have one 35-hour employee, you're gonna say no, they can't have summer hours? Based on the town hall having 35-hour week?
We'll base it on a 35-hour week then, not a 40-hour.
See, it just gets into the, if you do it for another department, do they send another letter in 2 weeks because you didn't do it for the other two? Is what I'm trying to get to.
I understand, Steve.
Right.
But we're talking about full-time employees and part-time employees, right? Part-time employees are part-time, full-time are a completely different
Right.
matter altogether. So,
But you still have that
Well,
one
We
individual.
have a full-time employee at the animal shelter. I just don't want you to get yourself into another spot where you're gonna get another letter because you didn't include every full-time employee.
well, by the time we get that next letter, the summer will be over, so. The 2 weeks would have come and gone. And then we can reconsider it next summer.
In full. All right, so any further discussion from the council? Okay, there is a motion, there's still a second.
Modified hours, modified.
So the motion was to modify the hours of the Department of Public Works employees. So I'll amend my motion to say to modify the hours for Department of Public Works employees working
Highway
40 hours,
Highway.
35.
35 hours or more. 40, so
Like
I'd
you said,
say,
or more.
so 40 hours,
35 hours or more,
35
Oh.
or more, right?
or more, right? To be eligible to come in a half an hour
Early.
early and leave a half an hour early.
Correct.
Okay.
That's my motion. Is that the
Second.
Okay. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion does carry. Next, we have the Department of Public Works awarding a bill road repair processes, asphalt paving. So we put it out to bid. Rejuvenator, asphalt paving. We have a recommendation before you from Steve, recommending that we award the bid to Cardi Corporation.
What was the question?
Oh, is there a motion or any questions on that?
I have one, Steve, you wrote the specs different this year
Yes.
for the testing and all.
Includes for all of what DOT requires when paving.
That was my only question.
Yep, I added all the DOT's regulations and specifications, as well as the changes in the formulas. Because that's what's under the DOT specifications.
That's my only question.
Okay.
And they were the lowest bidder. Unfortunately, the companies that are closer to us didn't bid, unfortunately, even though I provided them with much information.
For the record, I wonder if it just should be noted that the bids were open on August 2nd, and that there were 5 companies that responded, just for the record, since someone asked. And then we have this recommendation. from Steve Nash.
So I'll make a motion to award the bid to Carter Corporation for road repair process asphalt paving.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have awarding a bid for the road repair processes rubber chip seal. Again, there's a letter for you. Steve recommends we go with All States Asphalt Inc. Have some of them in this. Dennis, your card.
I've discussed this with him one day down in the garage, so.
All right. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion. I'll make the motion to award the rubber chip seal to Allstate Asphalt Incorporated, P.O. Box 91, Sutherland, Massachusetts.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Next, we have the awarding a bid for the road repair process, the Rejuvenator. Again, there's a recommendation for us from Steve for Felix A. Marino Company, out of Peabody, Mass.
Steve, a question, is this the process that you indicated before there was something new that you were gonna do, or not? Not this one, not rejuvenating, right?
Rejuvenator is what extends the life of our existing roads without having to resurface.
But that's not
At
some,
a
that's not a
cheaper
new
cost.
process.
It's not new by any means,
No.
no.
Something you've done
It's-
before.
No, we haven't.
Well, maybe that's what I'm getting
No.
at. I remember you describing.
No, this is a cost-saving
Something.
measure. Yeah, well, this is a cost-saving measure to extend the life of our chip seals, and in the future would be rubber chips
Okay.
and or asphalt.
But it's a new approach you haven't used before, but you've seen.
We haven't, we would just re-chip, but at the cost, I had them send a clarification because it said treatments, and they only sent a price for one, and it was the high treatment at the 0.8 per gallon. The 0.5 equals out to $10,200 per mile, which is approximately just over half of what we would cost a chip seal road. So we can keep the chip seal that we have in place for another 5 to 7 years for half the cost, is what it
Which
amounts to.
sounds like,
It's a cost savings of about $8,000 a mile for over a 5 to 7 year period.
and didn't you tell us, you know, it's being used?
Oh, yeah, I went and reviewed it
Yeah.
in Putnam and
Okay,
Connecticut.
and you're feeling good about it?
Well, the stuff
obviously.
is what
That's
it
why
does.
you
We have a
know.
test patch right in our yard. We've had it there for months. We have 2 other test patches in 2 other locations in town as well.
Feeling good about it.
Yeah, it works.
I know that's why you
It's doing what
recommend
it
it.
says it does, and it's in a very high
Right.
traffic area in the yard.
Right.
Everything goes over and it's standing up excellent.
Good.
So you have 2 different amounts, Steve.
Yes.
Is the one of the two, obviously you picked the .08 gallons, that the $1.39 a yard is a better investment because it's
No.
more material?
No, more is not better in this case.
Okay,
The 05 is the process, is what we would use. The 08 is a more expensive process using more material. And it also would include a liquid asphalt that would turn the road more black color, which is realistically for presentation. It looks nice. It does soften the top a little differently and allow the cracks to tighten up a little more, but the cost of benefit versus a new chip seal.
okay.
Is how I
Yeah,
look
that's
at
what
it.
my question was, the cost was.
I made them do the clarification because it was supposed to be treatments with an S, and it's in the, if you look at the bid sheet, it says treatments. And he only sent the price for one, so I made him clarify it for you, so.
Okay.
The 05 is what we're looking at.
So how's that applied? How's that applied to the road?
Sprayed out of a distributed truck. Basically, you ever see a tack get sprayed on before asphalt? That same truck. Same type of truck, different nozzles, material.
And do you anticipate doing this work this fall,
Yes, it's possible, yes.
if you can, whatever?
We have
weather?
several roads we can save and push off from having to chip seal. It'll save us about $15,000 to $20,000 a ship. The rubber chip will save you $100,000. So So that money gets to get put into other roads as well as other asphalt, different locations.
Well, to your credit, as far as I'm concerned, your credit for trying to extend and do what you're doing.
Well, the rubber chip stands up well, it's on 102, you see it, it's been there 10 years and still in very good condition. So that speaks for itself. The rejuvenator keeps it 10 more years, or 7 more years, depending on the condition when you put it on. It's a high on the curve maintenance process, but it keeps your good roads good, so your investment is projected instead of just falling off. That's what it does. The other few things listed in there, like the thermal restoration, that's reheat, you know what that is.
That's extra on top,
That would be if we want to do it somewhere, it's just,
where you got like a patch or something.
right, there's some few catch basin, areas where culverts go across where they sink a little. You can put some new mix down, you heat it.
Grading, paving in the past or something.
Right, they change the name every few years, it's funny. Now it's called thermal restoration.
That's why the thought was in my mind.
Yeah, that's why I said, when I said reheat, I figured you know what I meant. The filling and bonding one is another process, I'm not sure about that one, right? But we're gonna use it. It's just,
So they're
it's
just
part of the
They're
equation.
spraying an oil down, they're not putting anything else with it.
Correct. The only thing we would do if need be would be spread a little sand on it for, just so that there'll be no slide accidents for a few
How
hours.
long does it take to cure?
Well, the prod is that it really never cures. It won't stay slippery more than a very short
No, how
time.
long before you can drive on it?
Oh, right away.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, right away.
Because I remember when you did Sunderland Trail, some ladies called me
Well, that was
screaming
when we
because her ice-
asphalted.
Because her ice cream was melting in her car.
That was asphalt. Dan, that was asphalt on a hot day.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was 3 inches
I'm
of
not
line.
kidding, I had a lady screaming at me off from her cell
You're
phone.
not the only one.
Okay, that was my only question.
Is there a motion?
Oh, boy.
Do you make the motion?
Yeah, I'll make the motion to award the rejuvenated bid to Felix A. Marino Company Incorporated, 32 Colin Street, Newton, Massachusetts.
I'll second the motion. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. Lastly, awarding a bid for the 4x4 utility vehicle. Steve recommended one from around Truck Center, 2008 F-350.
No, it's a trade.
Oh, sorry, trading in a 2008 350. Discussion, council, or? Right?
You want a discussion now, or
It's not.
motion?
I'm sorry, it's not Rhode Truck Center, it's Flood Ford.
Sorry?
It's Flood Ford, not Rhode Truck Center. It's in my mistake. Per the bid, it's Flood Ford.
Yeah, it says,
It's Flood Ford? That was the only bid you got, right?
Correct.
oh, I see.
I sent it out to a bunch
On
of
your cover,
places.
you did.
I got one.
I see what he's
Yeah.
reading. He's reading.
They had an interest from another company, but they never sent a bid.
That's
It would-
fine. That's what he said he was-
Any motion, Jimmy, go?
I can make the motion, and I was gonna ask Steve for discussion, I'll make the
You're
motion.
keeping the plow off the old truck, right?
Yes, it's already switched down.
Okay.
I'll second it for discussion.
Okay. Go ahead.
I'll make the motion to award the bid of the 4x4 utility vehicle from Flood Ford, East Greenwich, Rhode Island,
I'll second it for discussion.
for discussion. So, can you explain again, even for people here, about why you needed a 4x4 utility vehicle?
All right, what we had is a 2008 F-350, it's a diesel pickup truck with a plow. And for the work that I do, 90% of the time, pickup trucks aren't necessary. So you're wasting diesel. And basically what happened to that truck is it rotted out and the turbocharger seized up on it. And that's how it still sits to this day. So I haven't had that truck since May. We've been without that vehicle. The plow, we replaced it, we bought a truck last year, the F-550, the truck I'm currently driving, that has a new plow. And that's the truck that I was using this last winter, because the F-350 had a serious issue. We weren't running it that much other than just back and forth to town hall and stuff. But the need for the different vehicle is just gonna be more beneficial to go to trainings, to do the work that I do, which is mostly administrative on a big percentage of the time. They'll still go on job sites, because it's a four-wheel drive, be able to do all the work and go out in inclement weather. So it's realistically the perfect vehicle for the job. The plow that was on the old truck, I'm putting on our other truck, which has a more beat-up plow. The one that was on the pickup I was driving is in good shape, so we're gonna switch those out. We already done that. So the trade-in, they gave us pretty good money on the trade-in for the truck that's rotted out and broken. You can't physically drive it on the road. So it did bring the price down 4,000 below what we had budgeted for the plow. So it doesn't affect the plowing, and it doesn't affect, but it increases our productivity on the rest of the plowing work.
Any other discussion? Right?
Just had a question. Ian, you recall when you and I had the discussion with Scope and Richard about that company that we can get vehicles from? I'm just, what's the name of them? MHQ. I'm just
They-
wondering whether we can get a competitive bid from them.
It's that they only sell police interceptors, which has the bigger motor. That's really the only difference in the vehicle. And it's more money, unfortunately.
Oh, it is more?
Yes.
Oh, all right. Because I remember when we
were
looked,
looking at the pickups.
when we looked in the book, I thought they had every vehicle under the
Yeah, they had
sun.
every vehicle in the sun, but this is what he spec is the same thing as Scotia driving, but it doesn't have the interceptor pack. No, the motor's different, I'm sure the suspension's different.
It's different for electrical need and the motor, tires are different, suspension's different. It's more money because it's an interceptor.
I get it.
They're about $3,500 more.
All right, it's just a thought.
Okay.
'Cause
I had already, I did look into it, because we could actually buy that vehicle without going out to bid,
Right.
and it's more money. So this is actually, because of the trade, this actually is a savings.
Well, the
that's
other
actually-
thing is, if you're buying it from Flood, he's right up the road for warranty work too, so.
And he gives us, Ford gives a very good municipal discount. When MHQ sells a truck, they don't have a municipal discount because they've already received it on their end prior to them reselling it. Because they sell vehicles through a dealership in Massachusetts. So they're the second hand in the pile. That's why there's a
Well, we
markup.
were specing the pickup trucks, the F-150s, the prices were pretty reasonable.
Yeah, they do a pretty good job on those because they buy them by the thousand. But they're not police, they're not a police interceptor though.
You call the vote.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Last, the award of bid for the heating and cooling upgrades to the town clerk's office building. What before you states that they review the bids and then they give permission to go with Restivo's heating and air conditioning. A bid of 8,800.
One bid received more than the last time, if I remember correctly.
It's a little more than last time.
No, I mean more bids, didn't we put this out before?
We had to bid this twice last year because nobody bid the first
Nobody
time.
bid, right.
And Restivo's bid the second time and did excellent work. I have heard no problems with the system they installed last year.
Good.
This system, the location's different, more plumbing involved, it's the second floor instead of the first floor, so a little bit of mock-up for materials, I'm guessing, and inflation. But they did excellent work, the units are working as
Just as it
bid,
should.
as we requested.
I'll move to award the bid to Restivo Heating and Cooling, the amount of $8,800.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next.
May I just ask one question that I should have asked under discussion? When are they gonna do that, Steve?
The heating,
Yes.
now I can schedule, now I can find out, I
So
don't have.
hopefully we can get that done before it gets cold.
I'm really hopeful we'll get it done for the heating portion of what they do.
Yeah.
Because they do both, they don't just cool, it's heating and
Yeah.
cooling.
Right.
I'm hoping to get it in there before the winter time. Because upstairs can be hot in the winter
Right.
and cold. So the function it has, you can put them on hot or you can put them on cold. And they work very well.
It's
So-
hot up there, they open the door.
in the wintertime. And so that's why the supplemental heating that we're doing is beneficial, because we can right now micromanage the regulation in the building for all the different levels.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, number H, introduction, review, and possible action, Boone Lake Dam Management District, proposed amendments to the Exeter Code of Ordinances, Chapter 50 waterways. We received this, I think you guys got it, email it forward to you guys, from the Boone Lake Dam Management District. They're looking to modify the ordinance that governs Boone Lake waterway. I know Jim had some questions about the procedure. I think that was well clarified to your.
Yeah, I had several questions which the secretary responded to and basically clarified them, so I have no problem with
Okay. So from procedurally, we would post this, this is a modification of the ordinance, public hearing in 30 days, or is that?
it. Well, it doesn't require a public hearing, it just requires a public vote.
That was my question. When we adopted this original ordinance, we did go through the public hearing process.
All right.
And so,
Sure, yeah,
I mean, I
yeah.
think it's pro forma because they've already, it
Right.
seems, I think we could do it, just like we're doing some of these other hearings, and we would have to do it. When I looked at it, I remember the numbers of people that came to Metcalf School, remember some years ago. But now that it's in place, I would suggest we post it for October, our October meeting. Well, because, well, it's only 2
We've
weeks,
got enough on
I
our
don't
plate
know.
for September.
That was my,
We've got enough on our plate for September.
yeah, and it gives you time to advertise whatever you
So we
need
time to
to.
advertise?
I don't know what you need to
I
do.
don't think it's not advertising.
So it's not,
Okay.
I mean, I thought October just because, as Dan said, it's probably a lot of other stuff we have to.
Draft dates, we've got
Well, we
two
have the-
public hearings tonight that we didn't.
Yeah, we do have the solar aid draft that's gonna take some time, soon, so that's why I thought October would work.
I know, Melissa, you're the secretary? of the-
I'm the treasurer for the Boone Lake Dam Management District.
Would that be, I know you guys are trying to get it in for, would that be amenable October?
Yeah,
You guys-
absolutely. That works.
Were you party to what I just described with the initial, have you lived there before the ordinance was put in place? Because as,
He bought the house as soon as that went into place.
okay, I mean, okay. Getting it in place was a challenge, as you probably recall. Hopefully it's working out for you folks.
It is working
Well-
out very well.
Good.
We're just looking to make small changes that will hopefully result in more involvement from our community.
You're the young lady that authored our memos?
Yes.
Oh, well. So do you think October poses a problem? It looks like you folks are ready to go, you've already decided.
Not at all. As soon
We'll
as
just
it
make it
gets,
official here, is the process that we
Yep.
need to do.
and we anticipated that.
So,
Well, I would move that we post this for public hearing in October, what's the date, anybody, October something coming up? Is it the first?
yep.
Okay, October 1st.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Is it the second?
No, it's the first.
I
Second.
second the motion.
Setting them up for that.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. See you guys in October.
Have fun now.
I, introduction, review, and possible action, ordinance and amendment of the zoning ordinance relating to photovoltaic activities. We've already, yeah, that's draft eight.
Drafting.
No, this is a draft date, this is,
Based on the.
this is what you've
based on
done,
the
Jim.
Public hearing.
Oh, okay.
This is your work, Jim.
This
I thought
is,
that was it.
that's master plan.
Oh, that's all right, okay. Okay, then I'm ready.
You're on.
Yeah, if I could just, rest this for a moment. The, this is merely to place the ordinance that you passed, the zoning amendment into the code, the ordinances, to send it off to code. So it has to be in a final form. We took, basically the form that was before you that you passed. We, and I placed it into that form, I sent everybody a copy of that. The only question I had at the time that I was drafting it was whether or not it was the intent of the town council to require all applicants from here on out, under this new ordinance, to negotiate or present a tax treaty type, payment in lieu of taxes type proposal, which then would come to the town council, would be negotiated, and then that needs to be done at a master plan stage before an approval would happen. So that was my question. I asked Dan. Dan confirmed to me that it was in fact his intent to have it apply across the board to any applicant that came in. So you will find that change, which is really the only significant change to what you had before you. It's not a change, but because you made an amendment to the ordinance, that was something that was not before you that night, other than through discussion. So I placed that into language at paragraph 14, subparagraph Roman numeral number 12. It's on page 2. Since that time, I had a discussion with Carrie, who also was looking at this from her point of view, and she brought up a very good point, which is something that was not addressed, but obviously needs to be addressed, or should be, and that was that she said, if in the event that state law changes concerning the amounts that can be charged for the equipment itself, should it change and go up, which she anticipates will happen, we could potentially get into a deal where the numbers are not working for the town. It actually would be better just to allow state law to operate. She was worried about that. So what I did was, and I'll pass it out, everybody can take a look at this. This is the same thing that I sent out with one extra sentence in it. Again, if you go to page 2 of the document.
Is that what you have, Cal? What is that about?
This is what we all received.
Yeah, that was the prior
This is what
version.
we got from Jim through when, a couple of weeks ago, July 18th.
Okay, do you have, Ray, the one that I just passed out? Go to page 2. It's like the third paragraph up. You'll see a subparagraph, Roman numeral number 12, small number 12. You see that? It says, a proposed tax treaty or similar plan governing inter alia, proposed payments in lieu of taxes and or assessments for ultimate review, revision, and approval by the town council. No master plan final approval shall be granted by the planning board unless and until such plan has been duly approved and executed by the applicant and by the town council required at master plan stage. That was what I proposed, and Jerry sent that, had the concern
Well,
that.
right here, Jim, when I made that motion,
Yeah,
it was to submit the tax treaty to the council
right.
at master plan.
Right.
Final approval is contingent on having it signed. Okay.
That's, I think what I said.
Yeah.
Okay, now, there's another
Because,
sentence.
like I said, they still got probably 6 months to a year from master plan to final. So that gives the town solicitor and their attorneys to sit there
Oh,
and figure this
I
out.
think that,
Instead of someone coming up and filing.
I think that's what that says. If you
Yeah.
think there's
Yeah.
better language, go right ahead, but I also added this next sentence.
Well, the way, this is what gets me, no master plan final approval.
Right, fine. In other
That,
words,
that's what throws me through a loop, because you got no master plan final approval.
shall be granted by the planning board unless
So
and
they
until
can-
such plan has been duly approved and executed by the applicant and the town council.
Yeah.
So in other words, any approval would have to be contingent upon the town council completing this. Now, there's another sentence that I added in the version that you have now in front of you. And that's the last sentence, and this was to address Kerry's point. It says, in the alternative, the town council may waive any such requirement, and in such event, any and all taxes, payments, and assessments shall apply as otherwise provided by law or ordinance. So it would be up to the council to either enter into one of these or not. And if you don't, you just tell the planning board, we're okay, we're just gonna go with existing law the way it is. We feel that that's gonna be a better deal than the tax treaty that we've been able to negotiate. And so you'll always have that option to just go with existing law, whatever that is in this case, assuming you'd be able to weigh that option. So it doesn't seem to be inconsistent with anything that you presented that evening. So that's basically it. That's my interpretation of what you did that evening. And if it's okay with you, if you're comfortable with that language.
Jim, can I ask you a question, please? And I thank you for putting this together, because I realize, well, I saw concerns that were expressed to you about pulling it all together. I understand that there were some, so thank you for doing this due diligence. I do have a question about this tax treaty thing, and then by state law, because my understanding was that there's a regulation, or whatever we call it, that's come out that tells municipalities how they are to assess for tax purposes. And is that what you're talking about when you say the law might change or the regs might change?
Right.
Yeah,
I think that the town always has an option to work out a better deal if the applicant wishes to do so. And in this case, for instance, you had a party coming by that was offering to do better than the state.
Well, that's where I'm coming to that issue, because that's what I thought we were told, that if this moved forward, we were gonna be offered something in excess of what the state was requiring in terms of an assessment. Am I on the wrong track or not? I mean,
This would allow you to enter into that type of a deal.
well, because the party that proposed this offered to do that.
Right.
But I guess in my process, which I guess could be limited, I don't know why any other company would say, oh, we'll give you more than what we need to be assessed by state,
Well, because-
unless it's offered to entice.
Can I play
Would
devil's advocate? I'm
would
trying to
you-
put myself into the developer's shoes.
Yeah, would you?
Some developers will say, it's best to provide this as an incentive for the town to enter into it in the first place, and secondly, to give us stability over the next few years, where they're not sure if the legislature might pump that up. And the town council has to weigh that at that time, to say, is this truly a better deal? Is it best for us to lock into it now at a higher rate, or should we, wait to see what the state does?
Which sounds like what you said Carrie's concern
That
was,
was
which I understand, having conversations with her as the liaison. I didn't talk to her about this specifically, but I see that you added the language that now it becomes optional.
Exactly.
So the state can actually raise it from 5,000 megawatts to 8,000 megawatts.
They could do it tomorrow. I mean, it's
Or they
sure, it's a
could take
piece
it
of
off.
legislation, that they would have to, of course, go through the legislative process, but yeah, they could do it. Or as Dan said, they could go lower. You never know. But this, to the extent that you can negotiate one of these deals, and again, I was only trying to do what the town council said. I'm not trying to steer policy one way or the other here. And that's, if you saw the discussions that were going back and forth from Ashley, she was making policy arguments. And that's, the council acted. The question is, what did you intend? And let's get that into the ordinance, because that has been acted upon. And as I told Ashley, that's our job. Town council is legislative. We then follow the legislative scheme that's adopted. So that's all this is meant to do, is to place into words that extra amendment, and then place it into the form that's required in order to get it codified.
So you're saying the tax treaty is same across the board, so it's not individual sites?
It will be
For each
negotiated
site.
for each site.
Each site.
Each site is
That's correct.
negotiated tax treaty, is that
Yeah.
correct?
That's what this does. This says,
There'll be one tax treaty signed for each project.
Okay,
if you choose to go into it. Again, you have the option to either do it or not.
okay.
Now, the next question, do we have to have a vote on this?
Yes.
Changing language?
You're not really, all this is trying to codify the language that you passed that night. So I don't look at this as changing anything. My job was to try to get into words the motion as it was set that evening.
That's
Yeah,
what
your actual what ifs.
People,
What if that happens, what if that happens, so you kind of cover, you
Exactly.
gotta cover
That's
yourself.
The motion amended the ordinance that evening. That's correct, as we said. So,
To clarify the language, something to that effect?
the motion that night, you amended it
Yeah.
at the very end.
Yeah.
And it required this new concept of entering into a tax treaty pilot type arrangement, if possible, at the stage that you stated, which would be master plan, have you done, or at least
Submitted master plan contingent upon.
contingent upon council's approval. So that's what this does. And that means that any applicant that comes in will have to address that at master plan stage, get to the council. If they wish to enter into it, if the parties wish to enter and can work out a payment in lieu of taxes type proposal, then you do it. If you don't, then the council just waives it and it goes according to whatever existing laws are. Okay.
Thank you.
So we need to go and
Do.
accept it.
You do, and you'll note that what this does is, it's effective as of the date of passage, which was
July 16th.
July 16th.
Okay. So is there a motion to accept?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
There is discussion. And once again, Jim, I thank you for pulling this together. I couldn't support it before, so I'm sorry, but I can't vote for it tonight.
So, any other discussion on it? It was already passed by the council. So it's just codifying what was said that night, so I'll call the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
So the vote passed 4-1. Next, an application for the amendment to the zoning map ordinance by Cox Communications, the applicant, 843 Slocum Drive, Exeter Island, plat 81, lots 9 and 11. It's August communication number 36. So, we got a packet from
Yeah, I got to see this. The guy that owned this property sold it to Cox Cable, God, it had to be 15 or 20 years ago. I knew the guy, I don't even know if he's alive anymore. And this property originally was zoned industrial. That's how they got it in there. So it's like a switchgear facility or something, if I remember. I don't remember if they put a small antenna on this place. Because there's no way they would have got their business in an RU2 in the beginning, so. I don't know, it's a log cabin, the house is a log cabin. I don't know how many acres he had. It's odd.
So everybody knows, counsel for the applicant is here this evening. Ms. Rhode.
Nicole Verdi.
Yes. Good
Can I
evening.
ask you that question? Rick, in the past, I'm almost positive, this piece was zoned industrial.
So it probably was, our client hasn't told us that it was, but you're right, there is a small structure on it that does have a little.
I haven't been in there in 20 years.
Yeah, you have to go
It's
pretty
a
much.
log cabin, isn't it, if I remember correctly?
It's not a cabinet, but it's a small, like cement
There was a house there,
structure.
because he sold it to, maybe they tore the house down.
Maybe, and you could kind of go up a winding road a little bit, and then it's in the back there, and it's a very small structure, cement, and they, I'm not positive it is a switch yard, but there is something there. But it's small, and there's a lot of woods
I worked
around
with
it.
This guy at a job site years and years and years ago. He said, what do you need us to do?
We're looking to change the zoning from an RU2, I think, RU4.
Yeah, because right now, small-scale solar is not allowed in the RE2, and we're only literally one lot away from an RE4. And we wouldn't be allowed by right, we would still have to go before the town zoning and before the town planning. But we just want to have an opportunity to be able to do that.
And his own change has to be done by council, correct?
Well, talking to Jim, we would first have to send this to planning to get an opinion. They would send it back to us.
Planning or zoning?
Jim, planning?
Planning. Planning, yes.
We would send it to planning for an opinion. At that point, we would then go have a public hearing, and then, I would say we have 65 days to vote for this.
This would be considered, town council would accept the application, and that's what we did it last time, forward to the planning board for their recommendation at the time period, within which they need to do that, and then there's a time period, once it gets back to us, to have the hearing, and start the hearing.
Has Cox owned the property? I know this is what you're asking.
Yeah,
Is
this
it
is probably
is that-
15, 20 years ago,
Is
that
that
guy
Cox?
sold it to Cox.
the Cox?
Yes.
And I remember back then, it was zoned industrial, which is, like I said, I haven't been there since he sold the property, and I don't even know if the gentleman's alive, so. But he had built a log cabin back there, so.
When I went to the site a few months ago, and I didn't see a cabin, it was like a
Did they put the
small
tower out there? I
concrete.
don't remember, did they put a tower or something up there?
It's not what I would typically see as a tower.
Not
It's
like a
not,
giant
tall-
cell
it's not a
tower.
giant one, but there is a small cement structure.
I'm not questioning what you're saying, Dan, except I am only because I know there's that whole development right next door, and I wonder how it would be industrial right next to a residential development. which is-
I'm talking 20 years ago, could have got changed.
Taylor Ritchie.
Maybe when he built his house,
That's
they
what
took
I'm
his
talking
own
about.
away. No.
I have, Lynn, has the application fee been received by the town? Okay. So this one, we were just moved to accept it and then send to planning board for review and recommendation. Is there a motion? Is there, no, I'm saying, somebody wish to make that motion.
Do we have to forward the planning, or does he have? We do.
We do.
Let's see. I'll make a motion to accept Cox Communication LLC plan for proposed, what do we call this?
Zoning change?
For a proposed zoning change from RU, is it RE2 or RU? RE or RU?
RE.
RE to RU4
Yeah.
zoning. I would say RU2, right?
Yeah.
Flat 81, lot 9 and 11.
Hang on, I'm deaf. Plat 81, lots 9 and 11, and forward to the planning board for an opinion.
Is there a second for the motion?
Second.
Discussion from the council? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Nicole, are you
Thank you.
related to General Brady?
He's my father.
Is he really? Wow, I served under him in
That's right.
General Brady. Wow, that's awesome. How's he doing?
He's doing well.
He's retired, right?
Wait, so my dad's Commander Verdi in the Providence Police.
Not a General Verdi in Rhode Air National Guard?
No, sorry, I thought you said Commander.
Oh, okay.
No.
Verdi names around, huh?
Yeah, no.
Your dad's doing good then.
My dad is too. Thank you all.
Recently recognized at the Alpine.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
Did you see me give a speech yet?
that was one
Thank you.
special guy.
Thank you.
Too small.
Now you have me all blushing.
Nicole, one question, is there a gate at this place? Can anybody drive in there?
Right now, anyone can drive in, but it's
I'm
pretty
just
set
thinking, if I'm
back.
going down that road in the next week or two, I'll just shoot it in.
Yes, you can. It's easy to miss a little bit, but like when I went, I drove by it and
Oh, I know
turned around.
Okay, we got number 10.
Excuse me, tell your dad that I said.
I will.
Unfinished business, number A, historic preservation and historic cemeteries. Ken?
Steve just mentioned that they clean the cemeteries, so,
You did some work there? No,
yeah, they've been cleaning,
staff did.
so that's it for that.
Okay.
That's it. Did it.
He's too windy.
Wow. B, impact fee study. Ken, what's the review?
Alright, so today we had a meeting at the town hall with the department directors, managers, sorry, and Ben from the company that we put the tentative award with. And so what he's gonna do is go back, he listened to everybody, found out what our needs were, what the town's about, and he's gonna write a report. I think he's gonna submit it to the group that we met with first, make sure the information's accurate, and then present it to the council along with, not the impact fee schedule, but we have to come up with what's gonna cost the town if we do this. So it went very well, I think it's gonna be fairly easy for them to do, because a lot of the impact fee studies, they do are very complicated and broad and big. And we're looking at maybe one project or two. But it went very well.
What? What are you supposed to meet with us?
It will, yeah, not this round is with the staff, the directors. The managers. One thing I would mention though is that, on the way out, he mentioned that the money that we spend to update the impact fee ordinance comes out of the impact fees. He can write that into the impact fee ordinance, so.
That's pretty good. Oh, that's a good thing.
He's like,
Yeah.
We were up to 20, they did 34, we're gonna get to a lot more than that.
Okay.
So, it's looking good.
Well, thanks, Ken.
Thank you,
For
Ken.
spearheading
What do you
that.
think?
No, I mean, it was a good meeting.
Good one for you. All right, C, introduction, consideration, possible action on ordinance regulating certain secondary agricultural uses and activities.
Do we need to address that?
Good. All right. D, information technology services. Where do we want to start on this one? Been issues lately, I guess? I have spoken with the gentleman, you guys had that meeting with. He was willing to come sit down, and we can figure out like, he's gonna be charge the town, what exact role he'll play. He'd like to get that finalized. So I don't know if we wanna do a special meeting, maybe, how we have to do that to hire a consultant, or how would that would be, if it's considered a consultant, so.
Well, consultants still have to go through the process. And have to at least do any kind of, right?
Yeah, we put it in the financial town meeting packet. So it was kind of approved at that, and then we talked about how, depending on how we paid him, you know, if it's gonna be a contract for $5,000, obviously, we'll
Right.
have to bid. But if he's gonna get an hourly rate, and it just goes on and on, he just becomes a town employee, and we're just hiring a person on a temporary basis.
Well, we'll need to know that before we can make a determination as to whether or not that.
So,
Okay.
So you can make all those determinations.
Has he already come in and sat with all of you? So he's already
Yes.
seen?
We sat with Lynn, myself, Ray, and Ken on a Saturday morning a
Okay,
couple of months ago.
all right, so he's already had that initial,
Yes.
so he kind of knows what's
Yes, and
faulty.
we showed him the report that we
Got it.
went out to.
I remember that,
Yeah.
okay.
He spent quite a bit of time, well, 2 hours if I recall, going through what he agreed with, what he thought was overkill, what he thought he would make a recommendation on. So, and it was after that we decided we should proceed with possibly hiring him on a consultant basis, which is why we put it as a line item in the budget. So, depending on what Jim thinks, if we don't necessarily need a quorum, we could have the same meeting like we did that Saturday morning to find out exactly what parameters he wants to get paid, whether it's hourly or,
right, bring it back to the
we're just
council.
gonna pick up where we left off on that Saturday morning.
Right.
And I'd be more than happy to do that.
We didn't have the line item approved at that point.
That's correct.
Now we do.
That's
So
correct.
you know what's in place.
Yes,
So if we paid him at an hourly rate as a town employee, it's not a big deal.
That's a critical position.
And we did that, I think, in the financial town meeting.
right.
We have to post it,
Why
it should
not?
be decided.
I'm confused.
I mean, post the date, take action.
Yeah.
Not post the, using the term post, I mean, just to place it on the agenda.
Just as an agenda, as an item. Okay. Okay.
But now I'm confused because when you say as an employee, you can't individual departments or hire a consultant for a specific job to do without being an
That's the
employee?
question, I think, for Jim. Because they do, they hire people all the time to come in and do certain tasks, and maybe over the years.
Right, but the question is whether or not, you cannot hire a consultant to do something that you know is gonna take more than the $5,000 minimum. That's the problem. So if you're hiring on an hourly basis, assuming that it's gonna be less than that, you don't have to go out. But you do have to bid if you anticipate that it's gonna go over $5,000.
Well, I think that's part of the discussion that we need to have, is to
Exactly.
find out how long it's gonna take and whether, how we want to get paid.
Right.
And then depending on how that meeting goes, then we can come back to the council saying, this is how long he estimates it's gonna take at an hourly rate. It's more than the 5,000 or less than the 5,000.
And then we could come up, if we, instead of going out to bid and get more quotes and all that, if we have the ability to hire him on a short-term contract with a total end date, that's
Sure, you
okay
could
too,
do-
right?
You
And
could
he
do
gets-
that, but you can't artificially do it anticipating that you're gonna just re-up it again. In other words, that's what you have to watch out for. So it has to look like and be a contract that can be done under 5,000. Not to say that you couldn't later on
Next year.
pick
maybe.
other duties to do and do the same kind of thing on a consulting basis, but you can't just have something that you anticipate.
Or maybe eventually we create a position
You've got on payroll.
within, because employees, someone, director of IT for the town, and it's
Yeah,
That's your,
part-time basis.
that's your other option.
which is,
Which is what Ken was saying,
Where we're
as
dropping
as an employee.
Right.
But give him a short-term contract so he knows this is the end. You're not getting laid off, you're not able to collect, you're not, going
Right.
That's where you're gonna need Vin to help structure it.
Yeah, so in other words, you'd be per diem. Pretty much.
But I think, if you guys want to try to get that, I'll give you his contact information, Ken.
I have.
Do you guys, oh, you still have it? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to schedule that Saturday meeting again?
That with me,
That's just,
no?
it's not gonna rain in the morning, so.
Story announcements forever.
Well, you did that opening day last time, remember?
Right, so E is the introduction, consideration, and possible action on proposed amendments to the Exeter Code of Ordinances. Appendix A zoning, Article 11, renewable energy, Section 11.1 solar. This is number 8, right?
That's so late.
All right, this is what we have the meeting on next week.
September 4th.
Okay. All right, so we're meeting on tonight. F, transfer station status. Is that what we're doing?
Okay, that is a item that I'll discuss in the executive
Executive
session.
session.
Okay.
It's posted. Yes.
All right, perfect. All right, G, permit program for the cat breeders around General Laws, Chapter 4, Sections 4-24-4, breeding permits.
We have to extend that because, well, we didn't really vote on Steve from the crowd. Said he'd like to have the dogs included, dog breeders also.
Do I just do them all at once,
So,
gathering up all that
to
information?
create a cat and dog breeding process.
For the program.
Yeah, so to change the agenda title and then I have the information, I just gotta put the dog stuff in the cats.
Regional School District Finance Committee. No communication back from West Greenwich.
I did get a communication from Ms. Greenwich, it's an email from their clerk, Eric East.
Yeah.
We're looking to set up dates, if I
I
remember.
think the dates on the state on September 5th.
Well, those are the dates they need to.
That's their council meeting.
Yeah, their council.
Okay,
The next meeting is
something
September
on-
5th. Good. Want to do it, Frank, or?
Sure. I happened to notice Mrs. Allen in the audience, so I wanted to pick on her if I could and ask her. Diane, has there been any discussion at the recent school committee meetings about the intention of both towns in the support of the finance committee?
They've talked about it, saying that both towns have supported it, but other than that, they were still looking, I think, for members from the public to fill some committees.
Okay, so
But
did the superintendent and the school committee realize that both towns want to move forward on this?
I think Bob Ross did.
Okay.
He was the one talking about it, so.
So it would be my suggestion that we set a date, make sure that West Greenwich can attend, and then send a letter to Chairwoman Pandy and the superintendent, and ask them to join us as well, similar to when we have an omnibus meeting to discuss their budget, usually in the early part of the year, and then start the dialogue with regards to whether or not we're going to have a charter change to move forward with that, and assembling the committee members from each one of the town councils as well as the school committee, and then move on from there. So I think we should have some type of a preliminary workshop and set a date and make sure that all interested parties can attend.
It's a no-brainer.
Can you coordinate
Well,
that?
those
Yeah.
were the dates that West Greenwich was available. So I think they're putting it back in our lap to let us know when they're available. So if we can set a date, hopefully they can be available, and then we can move forward from there as long as the school can attend.
They're on board with it.
Huh?
They're on board with it.
Oh, yeah, they've been on board with it from day one. Yep. The letter that we received from the town clerk was speaking about how the council voted in support of it, was the night that I made the presentation to the school committee, and Lee Kissinger from West Greenwich was there as well. And he was not necessarily speaking on behalf of the school committee, but thought that it was a good idea because there's other regional school districts within the state that have the same type of finance committee.
Remember that, that's right.
Right.
Thank you.
So get dates from the West Greenwich Town Council when they can meet where? Here, there?
You might as well do it at
Probably at the school.
Probably at the school or in the library, just like we have the omnibus meeting.
high school.
Yes.
So get dates from them, and check with you guys. Check with Kissinger, the superintendent, Andy.
Hopefully we can have a meeting
Work
relatively
session?
soon. Pardon me?
Work session?
Yes.
Okay.
I can help you with that one, since I'm the liaison.
Okay.
Does that sound good, Diane?
That sounds good.
Very good.
So they have to be invited too. You have to be invited too, the school committee.
Yes,
Frank, did you have a copy of that? You were there at that meeting.
yes.
Okay.
This has to be posted as a regular agenda.
That's have to be posted, yes. Everybody that's gonna be there should post it.
So, Lynn, if you want to reach out to the superintendent
First,
and Chairwoman Pandy, I can try and coordinate with West Greenwich if you want. Or vice versa. So that way it's not all
should
on
get some
you.
dates from one,
Yeah,
say these are the dates we have, and do the process of elimination.
yeah. So what do you want me to take, the school or West Greenwich?
I'll start with Aaron, West Greenwich, get those dates, and go to the school.
All right, just let me know.
I will,
All right.
thank you.
And then I'll go to the next school committee meeting or contact the superintendent by email or by phone, call Robin in the office, see if we can set something up. Hopefully we can do it before the next council meeting. Just at least have a date set anyway,
By the next
council meeting.
2 weeks.
Right. I don't need meat by then.
Right, no, I.
Okay.
I, Gardner Road issues. Good?
You think that, we're fixed? Is it been fixed yet?
The drainage will be going in shortly. That's, other than that, it's good to go.
JE permitting implementation process.
So we are on track with, the Department of Information Technology. We've been giving them the information they need. We're actually meeting with Sandy Picado. Lori and I meeting with her, on Tuesday morning. Lori and I sat through a webinar this week, a demonstration of how it all works. So we're ironing out we're tweaking it, ironing out the problems, and, we'll go live when it's all in place. And, but public user icon that I needed on the inspector's computer was part of the processing. And so if they come in, instead of filling out a paper, application, they can go on terminal and fill out the application for us. So then it'll just go in automatically, or it'll manually go in. So,
The only concern I have, and I think the computer people are gonna have it, is that you're gonna have the members of the public who use the building inspector's computer. And that's probably not good practice.
But they won't be able to get any of the building.
I just don't think the computer security people would go for that at all. So, before you,
So you think you should have a standalone,
I think so.
computer?
I think it. Because you wouldn't let somebody walk in your office and jump into it, like, public, even though they're locked out. I think the same thing would go pretty much for any.
Can it be done on a laptop?
Yeah, that's what they're gonna use.
Oh, that's what's back.
No, we put it on the,
On the desktop.
on the desktop.
Send to the library. I just see something coming forward that in a report will say, here's a deficiency that only members of the public use.
Maybe we should mention that at the IT meeting.
We need a cheap computer for public use only.
Well, we didn't have a computer set up now. That's not being used by an employee, so that just makes more sense because it's part of the inspectors rather than somebody else's computer.
Well, I've been in different city and town halls, and a lot of times when you walk in there, they actually have a standalone computer that's accessible to the public. Now, I don't know whether or not something we want to explore, but
Yeah, we have to find
I
space.
suppose you tuck it in a corner somewhere.
Oh, yeah, on the other side of that.
And then what do we do with that
Case.
stuff?
Oh, yeah.
And then what do we do with that stuff?
I don't know what's over there.
Table, chair.
Right back in that corner,
That's
so that's the first chair.
That's what I'm looking at, yeah.
There's a plug and a little chair.
Oh,
So
sure.
you're all set.
It'll take forever to put in.
Probably a good idea.
Not to throw a monkey wrench in, but I really see a big issue with that. That's,
Especially these days.
yeah.
They've already set the computer up for the process.
We needed to do that. It was part of the process, you know. It's one of the checklist items.
Does North Kingstown owe us any hardware?
I have no clue.
Sorry, I just,
Yeah,
I
that.
figured it was worth a shot.
I have some old computers.
We, yeah.
Look at the top of your new black cabinet, we can't. And you can provide a step stool for normal sized people. I wouldn't need one for normal sized people, right? I'm not referring. I just think it's great when you don't have to hit your head on it, go ahead, James. Okay, well, what are we doing?
At the last council meeting in July, we also discussed about whether or not we needed a council liaison. And I volunteered for that. I don't know if that's still an issue, or whether or not Lynn and Ken are taking care of it.
Can we eat for me?
Yeah.
Lori and I have been taking care of it, but we
Okay.
want to appoint a liaison on this.
Well, it's fine.
I just heard about the emails that you were having difficulty with. It wasn't so much about the meeting, it was about the North Kingston support.
They got them.
That's no surprise, right?
What was it happening?
It's persistent.
One or two items outstanding.
Okay.
That's it on that one, then. Move on to K, Animal Shelter Study Committee reports.
Well, we, talked to John Hughes, and he wanted to bring forth in the August timeframe. I think I talked to him at the financial town meeting in June. And I had suggested, I didn't think I would be here in August, so I suggested maybe coming in September. So I thought maybe we could maybe have him at a work session, maybe discuss the report. And I know that, Tom, you had made a minority report. I don't know if you want to have Tom also, or even invite the members of the committee to come
Well, a
in.
work session would be a public
Work
meeting
session.
anyway, so it'd be a public meeting anyway.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to invite, you know, Tom gave a communication back in July, and so he made a minority report. And then John Hughes had made the final report of the committee, so I thought maybe we could have John,
Work session, we'll invite
a
the
work
rest of the
session,
committee.
maybe have Tom come in too if you'd like. You know, sound good?
I'm available for that.
Yeah. Probably should invite Steve too.
Yeah. Steve, bring the donuts, you know?
Wow.
Make a minute.
Alright, so we'll look at the calendar, look at the dates for our work session in September. Do we wanna do it now, or do we wanna?
We're meeting another work session in September too, we just talked about that. Impact fees, isn't it?
No, when they come back, meeting.
I used to
We
be
did another one, something.
every shot for me.
That's the school finance committee. We're talking about the school finance.
Oh, that's right.
Trying to get out of here, that's what you have to.
Yeah.
17. So the week of the 10th, the 14th, is everything be available?
No,
No?
that's the week of animal control training.
Would you say training?
I haven't missed a meeting all year, I could miss one.
So then, going back to one more week, so the 17th to 21st. What day is this?
I'm pretty open.
Then we gotta find a place to meet.
That's what I was saying, this is
We
really
always
bad.
have Monday nights
So
here.
what are you looking at?
The 17th to the 21st.
17th would be juvenile.
All right.
The 18th would be legal. 20th would be all right.
20th?
Under me.
All right, let's schedule that for the 20th then. Send the invite to Steve and the members of the committee.
This is September 20th.
Correct.
$7:00.
Here.
Yeah, 7 o'clock.
So sure.
Please? I have no idea, I've never heard of it before.
Okay.
Must be something you do.
No,
It's
It's a default setting.
moving on to L.
Now, Ken, you wanna cover that one?
Not sure which one.
L.
Now,
The Exeter Rural Land Preservation Trust Introduction Review and Possible Action Procedure for Reviewing Landowner Appraisals Evaluation Form and Land Acquisition Policy.
all right, so we just had a meeting Friday night at 6 o'clock.
Over here, me and Ken.
6 to 8:30. Friday night, so don't complain. And, so we had Jim's comments, we went, we've already submitted them electronically to them, they had them. I went through my comments, but I think that, what they were looking for was not so much an ordinance, but more SOP. And so they wanted a working document that they can change, refer to, and change often. And if we put it into an ordinance, it's gonna have to go to the council and then be worked on and then amended over and over and over again, and that's not the intent of what they wanted. They understood what you wanted, and they definitely understood what I couldn't understand. And a few of them on the committee voiced that they didn't understand what was written, because there was a lot of legal terminology, and they just didn't have the ability to, you know, we're gonna hire a lawyer, not gonna hire you. We're gonna hire a lawyer, a tax lawyer. So I think they're happy with, they're gonna send it to me, I'm gonna incorporate my comments. They already have yours incorporated into it, and it won't be an ordinance. It'll be just a working document for them. So,
Their procedure for when they.
procedures on how they, their rules, you know, they come.
What they did is they took a template out of, is it the National Family Law Trust or something like that?
Organizations that have legal departments with
Right.
Hey, they're trying.
that
We're
do
giving
all
them
this.
an A for
No, no,
effort,
for
so.
sure.
You know, and they didn't even review it in the context of reviewing it against the ordinance. So there was a lot of contradiction, I think, in here that they're gonna have to look at. So if they put it into a policy, that's why we have the ordinance, I think, on this one. So I think, so, you know, we'll continue to work with them, just to formalize it a little more. So, like I said, they're gonna use this as a working document. It's gonna be very dynamic, so.
So we need to take any action on this weekend?
You can just take it off the agenda, I think, because you're not gonna, it's not an ordinance.
So we'll make a motion to remove item L, 10L from the agenda.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Removed. Moving on to number 11, reports of officers and boards committees. Ray, start with you with Public Works.
Public Works, well, he's gonna get his SUV, good thing. I see the signs around. I saw the new sign at Reynolds Field, and I didn't see the one at Chelsea, but
Yeah,
I know
I'm not
you-
sure if you guys got the
he
picture.
was
I
a
did.
little
You got the picture.
photograph, so that looks really good.
That's good.
Right, those signs are made out of highway grade aluminum. The previous signs, the Reynolds one was very old, and hated to tear it down because it was a nice sign, but I couldn't afford to replace it. It was all hand carved, but it was just so old and so rotten, we couldn't save it. So we replaced everything with aluminum grade, highway grade aluminum, instead of the composite materials, which used to be at Chelsea Park, but they broke it. Because it's just a fiberboard with aluminum thin overlay, and the kids broke the corners. So this time we did highway grade aluminum, it's pretty hard to bend. And it was very reasonable cost, the company we found, and it's,
Yeah,
if you go
they come
look
out
at the
good.
sign, they're smooth. That's a printed sign applied to the highway aluminum sign. So it's not like a stencil over, the colors are all, it's one, it's smooth. It's like a vinyl, like you wrap your car.
Yeah.
That's what that is, it's a printed vinyl wrap on highway grade aluminum.
So durable.
It's
and
extremely durable,
expect
it's
it
the
to
same as
last
Lynn's
for-
new sign out front, is the same material, except hers went into the old frame because it was still usable. But they're very, very inexpensive, and the aluminum's only gonna push the cost up a little bit, but we needed to do that for longevity.
How old do you think that old sign at Reynolds Field was?
Went up in 1982.
Wow. Well, can you, while we're on the subject, I know we got this memo back in July about restriping of Route 2, can you?
Oh, the restriping, you got that, right?
Yeah,
We got that, but
You looked at it.
We never
so
really
you didn't
asked
see it.
about
Right, there was no impact to anyone that I saw. There was an improvement actually for some people in some businesses in town. The new owner of Oak Harbor looked at it, he stopped in my office because he wanted to see it, and he was happy with it, and things like that, so. When they're gonna do it, I can't even begin to tell you. It's only, what, 30–40% submission, so it'll be next year, most likely, before they do that restriping. And also Route 2's on the tip program for 2022, I believe, for resurfacing. So it'll end up getting redone again 2 years after that. Great.
And how you making out the salt shelter?
The salt building, the foundation's completed. The steel plates will be coming in shortly. They attach the blocks together, then we'll be getting the building. And we'll be erecting that this probably October, when the weather's decent.
I see that you had dumped the scrap metal at the transfer station.
We did have an issue with the scrap metal. I requested a second container. They did provide us a second container. So we relocated the recycle bin that we were not using, it was just sitting there. And for 2 weeks, we had one of our small roll-off boxes there, and the Public Works Department hauled it twice or 3 times up to Exeter scrap. And then they provided us a second dumpster, and now that situation should be handled, so that we won't have a problem. We couldn't believe the influx of scrap metal in 2 months. It's just been crazy. And as well as they're having issues getting the box moved. Now they have a contractor working for them, and he's gonna be picking it up in a more regular frame now. So hopefully the second box, that's a 40-yard and a 30-yard box there currently for scrap metal. And they're filling them in 2 to 3 weeks.
Good.
So
I guess we did good. I wasn't here, but for Eco Depot.
Eco Depot went very well. They like coming here. They canceled about 6 statewide, but they wouldn't cancel this one. So I was very happy with that. They're happy with this
Why did
location.
they cancel? Because I don't know.
They guess it's just not a lot of people showing up at some of the locations. Well, they do about 25 of them a year, and they do them at the central landfill weekly. So, I mean, you can go to an Eco Depot every Saturday almost all year long, and they've just cut that back. And some of the towns were not happy about it, but Joe said to me that he's very happy about coming here, and he wants to already reschedule.
It
for
was
next year.
worth their trouble.
Right. They received quite a bit of goods here. So they were very happy with that.
Okay. I've been down the shelter, everything's looking fine. I had let you know Caroline, the girl who was bitten by the dog. I talked to her today. She lives in my neighborhood. She's doing okay. People wondering. Some people ask me about how she's doing. She's doing
I
okay.
saw her at an event, and she was very happy.
Yeah, very happy. So, but other than that, everything's doing good, great down there.
Yeah, there's a couple rabbits, if anybody's interested in a
It's like
rabbit.
4 of them, right?
Yeah, and a very nice citizen donated a hutch for the rabbits.
Oh, did I?
Yes, very nice. When you get a win, you'll see it next time.
No.
Hopefully we don't have rabbits for long, but it happens. Usually every year, we get 2 or 3.
Okay. We're all set then.
Very good.
So if you want a rabbit, Kevin, just go down and pick one out. I think there's 4 of them in the cage now. They're getting big though.
If you don't hurry, there'll be 8.
We've had a rabbit before. All right, we'll move on to the tax collector's report, Frank?
Yes. Monthly collections report. For the month of July, $1,485,476.05. All monies have been reported to the Maria, the treasurer. And Kim said the 2018 tax bills were mailed and payments have started to be applied. And the delinquent tax blocks are continuing to be removed on a daily basis with the DMV.
Continue with the school district?
Yeah, actually, unless Mrs. Allen wants to add anything, the correspondence that I pulled, number 39, I wanted to speak to that underneath my report. We all got a letter from the superintendent regarding a request to have a council member appointed to fill the building committee position. They were left vacant as a result of former council person Eileen Hicks, an Exeter resident, Mamie Barrett, resigning from the committee. Exeter resident James Angie, currently serves on the committee. The building committee is composed of 8 members, and the building committee membership is composed of 2 school committee members, 1 member from each town council, and 2 citizens from each town. So it goes on to explain who currently is serving from the school committee and who's serving from West Greenwich. So, since it's traditionally the liaison from the town council that serves on that, as Councilwoman Hicks did it before, I volunteered to do that.
I'll make a motion to appoint Frank to that committee.
I'll second that.
Thanks, Frank.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thanks, Frank. Good guy, man.
I would move that we also post for the second position, because they're asking for 3, right? We appoint 2?
No, one other person.
I thought it was that we needed.
May resign, so I think we need one other person.
You're right, Calvin, I'm sorry about that, yes. So we should continue to post for that, yes.
So I'll make a recommendation, I'll make a motion that we post for that position.
Second.
Okay. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Callie, you're up next, under tax assessor.
Well, you've received Carrie's report, and I think what's most notable and remarkable is the fact that the original list of unknown properties, which was probably 14 or 15, is gradually being reduced. And she indicates to you in your report that there are abatements that take care of some properties that have been, issues that have been resolved. And some people are going to be paying, I know there's one party that's going to be coming in to make a payment and taking care of assimilating properties that they've been using into their own. But only 4 properties remain, and there's a title examiner that's been engaged. She's working to try to resolve those. They're over in the Yorba Valley Rhode area. Some of them, I think they're all landlocked pieces, and trying to get a handle on where those need to be so that they can be added to the roll. But remember, some of those properties that actually the state ended up owning some of those properties that were so-called unknown. But anyway, through the years, that issue's being resolved, and that was kind of important through the years, know why those were on the records. Otherwise, this continues to be intense cooperation between the departments, so that the bills are being directed where they belong, and it's doing a fine job.
Excellent. please continue with the Exeter Drug Court.
Well, I don't have a report, other than I know that there was a follow-up letter sent after our last council meeting.
Yes, well, thank you.
And I feel like I want to try to reach out to the director if I can and say, can you just do some kind of something with kids, you know, to make sure that it's being addressed. I don't know if it is or it isn't, but there was that follow-up letter. So, I don't know any more than that. And if I'm still on the list for the non-existent,
Yes, you are.
yeah, I've heard nothing, and so I assume that it's pretty much, I guess it's defunct. But we did not approve any money for it, so it's sitting. I'd like to think something might happen, but probably at this point, now there's another election, and people, I don't know, but anyway, sorry.
You want to remove it from the agenda?
We can, we can't, because I'd like to say, why don't we remove it, but if I ever get word that it's being revitalized,
Oh, we'll put it right back
I would
on.
certainly do that, I'd be happy to, so it's up to you. We're not funding it any longer. So I don't have a problem with moving it.
This motion?
Oh, sure, I'll move that we remove that item H from the report agenda.
I'll second. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Removed. All right. Dan, public safety, what's happening?
Public safety, everything's quiet. Vermont says it's hurricane season. I believe if you still go on the town website, the library website, you can sign up for his code red. He's very efficient with his emails, so. Yeah. Next up is Jay, Exeter Rural Land Preservation Trust. Well, we discussed that. Thanks, Ken.
Ken?
Into it.
And did you get back from Stefan with regards to that grant that he was looking at?
Yeah, those grants can take forever. But, I'll touch base with you on that. Yeah, it could take 6
I
months.
saw him yesterday, I forgot to ask him.
I'm sure if he gets it, he's gonna call us and let us know, so.
Indicated the Exeter Public Library. They just completed their summer programming in the evenings for children. They were very well attended. So,
Oh, no, that means summer's over. Come on.
sorry, man. Should have gone. And that's what I have there. Nothing new to report on the North Kingstown Preserve of Women Green Project. It's in the courts. Council Assistant Ken.
Covered it all.
Sweet. Jim?
Okay, couple of matters to talk about. First of all, the Arcadia Park case. As you know, Judge Long considered the cross motions for summary judgment, which were basically the same arguments that we made on conjunctive action. And Judge Long issued a decision about a little over a week ago, which you all should have, in which she found the same way that Judge Weeks did before. So, the good thing about that is that we have all our arguments ready to go. The only thing we need to do is await the judge's actual signature on a judgment and an order. That triggers the appeal period. I've already been told to take an appeal, so that's all under control. As soon as the judge actually signs the judgment, we'll proceed with filing an
So
appeal.
are both Exeter and Richmond on the same appeal?
Yes. Technically, we both take an appeal, each one, but they're consolidated. And I'm sure the Supreme Court will do the same thing.
Right.
There was actually a case that Richmond brought and a case that we brought. So each of us filed the same motion in each of our cases. And so the issues are pretty much identical. There are a couple of tweaks that are a little different on each one, but nothing major. This case is all about which party, which governmental entity has control, at least in the initial instance, over the hearing process.
And Richmond still wants to pursue it.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
We're lockstep.
yeah, right.
So, that's the situation I'm in. I'll definitely have more for you by the next meeting. Also, you all know that you've been sued in the solar amendment ordinance case by Mr. Di Gregorio. I accepted service yesterday on behalf of all the defendants that were named. And I have an answer basically drafted now, so that'll be any day. We'll actually be filing an answer on that. And then the case will take its normal course. That's about it on that one. The third item that I want to talk about is for executive session, it's on the transfer station status.
So moving on to bills, appropriation, and abatements. The bill sheet, any questions?
I have a question.
Maria, we just had a question. It was a veterinary expense for the shelter. It's called Ocean State, $577.
Yes, that was reimbursed by, that was Perkins dogs? I'm sorry, yes,
Not Perkins,
who was it? McQueen,
McQueen.
I'm sorry.
That's
I-
the court ordered, that bills that were paid for by McQuade at the court case.
So you're gonna
Judgment
see
was-
the expense, you won't see the revenue against it.
He gave us a check, but we already paid the vet, so we had to, that money.
I'm having trouble hearing you.
It was the
Sorry.
court case for McQuade, the
Yes,
court
sir.
case where they said that he had to pay the vet bills.
Yeah.
That, those dogs had went to Ocean State. So
Right.
that money is due to the court case, where the court ordered, vet bills were being paid.
Yeah.
So
If you understand. It's strange the way that the system works with the courts, paying bills.
So we received a check to offset that expense.
Right.
That's good.
Okay. I guess I'll make the motion to approve the bill sheet dated August 1st, 2018.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Tax assessor abatements. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And tax collectors, remittances and abatements. The tax collectors abatements, sorry. I'll make a motion to approve those.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any other administrative issues? Moving on to communications, I believe we covered everything, 2, 4, 30, 39, 38. No, 34 and 38, we'll take a who left.
Yep.
So, Ray, you want to start with 34? You're-
Can't find it. That was the one where we were recognized in the magazine for,
It's by Policy Genius, we were recognized as the best small town in Rhode Island. So they picked, did a survey, all 50 states, they came up with the best small town in each state, and they picked us.
yay. You got Steve, you got it right here, writing.
So, I don't know if we maybe want to put a link to that article on our webpage, saying, hey, we're the best small town in Rhode Island.
I looked into it, they sell insurance. And it's a blog off their insurance search webpage. And I just don't, we get hit up by it all the time.
Yeah.
With the town website, when they're on email address for these things, so they just happen to pick Exeter. And I looked at it all, they've had other lists. The main, it comes right off their webpage.
Somebody wrote down 102 and said, oh, this is a nice small town.
It's a search engine for,
Why did you shut up on everything?
I'm sorry.
Really, Ken?
I thought they looked at the second highest per capita income, or whatever that is.
Like all the history of Exeter and Mercy Brown and
There's a
stuff.
target, no, the second highest per capita income, or whatever the heck that was.
Yeah.
All right.
Somewhere off the main
The
road.
boring.
Thanks, Ken.
They didn't put much,
Thanks for loading.
they didn't put much into it though, you know?
All right, 37, Frank, 38, I apologize.
So I just
I
want,
asked Steve this question, is that the one where they're cutting trees at? That's not.
Yes, you are correct.
thought. Who owns it?
Mr. Durant.
Who's it?
Durant? D-U.
Duart?
Dua? How do you
Yeah, it
pronounce
looks
it?
like D-U-A-I, Duarte,
Duarte.
Yeah, that's the old landfill.
So they just copied us on it.
We were copied, yes, everybody, I was copied,
Anybody
everybody
know
was
what's
copied.
happening up there? I see a big flatbed.
They brought in some equipment, they pushed some trees over, did some land clearing, I guess, a little bit, and put a campers in there, and I figured they were gonna build up in the back. There is land in the back that's supposedly good land.
They probably didn't know what they bought.
That I don't know, I mean, it's hard to not see what you bought, I mean, you can see the stuff sticking out of the ground. But that's not, it's realistically just to notice the town due to environmental issues as much as anything, realistically. Because the landfill is in this town, that's why we were copied. Planning was copied, so I mean, everybody was copied.
so not on any, there's no liability
If
aspect
they
on
go
behalf of
after
the town,
the
right?
landowner, there's no liability to the town of Exeter. We're just copied on an enforcement action that may or may not take place. They said that they may or could have enforcement. It's not, that there's no enforcement currently. It just says that they could trigger enforcement action. So as long as they realize that it's a landfill and they have to follow certain regulations and rules, then they'll be fine.
Okay. That's all I wanted was an explanation. Thanks,
That's
Steve.
what I understand, and, the Office of Waste Management, they didn't call, or anything, so it's not that serious for the town, or they would have made a phone call.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, so we're now moving to executive session. I think we only have one. D.
We need Steve.
That'd be fine, yeah.
So I'll make a motion that we enter executive session under item D, transfer station lease and purchase.
Second that.
No.
It won't be long, though.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
I think we should.
All right. Maria?
Can you stay?
Yeah, we're gonna take a quick break.
How's this good?
They are.
I don't know.
They are.
But you know what? We just